This is W2FJH. We'll be starting the STNY digital voice net here in just about 5 minutes. We do have NetLogger up and running for those folks that wish to check in early for NetLogger. NetLogger can be found at netlogger.org. We also do have Google Meet up and running. And if you wish to join us on Google Meet, you can find the link at stnydmr.net. So we'll see you folks in just about 5 minutes there. This is W2FJH. W2FJH, bringing up the STNY digital voice net on Brandmeister Talk Group 31367, wires X from 83721, and live stream to Google Meet and YouTube. The primary purpose of the STNY digital voice net is to help foster an active digital voice community in the southern tier of New York and to provide a forum for those that are interested or have questions regarding various digital voice topics. While this net is primarily for the southern tier, all stations are more than welcome to check in. This net meets weekly on Sundays at 7 p.m. For more information about this net, please visit stnydmr.net. This net will prioritize short-time, mobile, in and out, or emergency power stations. We currently do have 4 stations checked into NetLogger, so the net would like to recognize W2 KDC Dennis, K3 BYC Carlton, N2 RWH Ed, and KE2 DPB Jason. All right, when checking in, please give your call sign, your name, and your location. So let's first take a standby for any stations that are short time, mobile, in and out, or emergency power. Please call now. KE2 DPB Jason, Honey Lake, in and out. All right, thanks, Jason, for stopping by this evening. I'll mark you in and out. All right, let's open up for any station that would like to check into the STNY digital voice net this evening. Please call now.
N2 NCB, Paul Town, Tioga.
N2 NRA, Cliff and Waverly.
All right, and we have N2 NCB Paul, N2 NRA Cliff, and I did happen to catch N2 UTD John. You keyed up there. I didn't really get any audio, but I've been on the list there. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you're in a bad spot right now. I think you're the one that's usually driving. But hopefully you're in a better spot there when we get around to you. Were there any other stations that joined this evening? Please call now.
Yeah, good evening, Frank. This is N2 BSS, November 2, Bravo, Sierra, Sierra, hailing tonight from Prattsburg, New York.
All right, and we also have N2 BFS Jeff. All right, we got a good crowd here already. All right, so let's kick things off. If there's any announcements for this evening, please call now. All right, nothing heard there, so let's move on for questions. If there's any questions for the net this evening, please call now. All right, no questions, so we will move on down into comments. And so the net topic this evening, it's actually a replay from an older net back from January 15th of 2022. The net topic is when things go wrong, ham radio problems. What was a frustrating problem for you in ham radio, and how did you debug the problem, and what ended up being the solution. So to kick things off, we have W2 KDC. Dennis, how was your week?
Hi, Frank, and everyone on the net. My week was fine. Nothing eventful happened. That usually means a good week for me. Uh, Frustrating problems. I have one. I've had it for a few months now, and it goes and comes. Both of my Anytone 578s seem to every 2 to 3 weeks uh, corrupt the code plug. Uh, they don't do it in the same manner, and they don't do it in the same day. Let me come back for a second, break for a second. Uh, when they corrupt the code plug, I may lose all of the zones, uh, or it may turn the radio over to RF, and I can play analog, but I can't do anything else. Uh, I have loaded different code plugs, and the only fix so far seems to be to reload code plug. Both radios have, for all intent and purposes, identical code plugs. The only difference being one radio defaults to a different zone than another because of the different hotspot. But that's been the problem, and that's what I've been doing. So far, Anytone or Bridgecom hasn't been able to come up with a good idea. I do have a call scheduled for tomorrow at 5:30. Hopefully that will happen, and we'll see what Jeremiah has to say. But chances are he's going to say, it's a code plug issue. You should build a new code plug. But if it's the code plug, I would think it wouldn't come back just by reloading it. W2 KDC back to net control.
Hey, thanks, sir, Dennis. And yeah, that is an interesting one. Definitely keep us posted on how the call goes next week. And yeah, if there's anything, any questions or anything you can bounce off of me, kind of, I don't know. It kind of sounds like it's a hardware problem when they're blaming the software guys, and vice versa. The software guys will always blame the hardware guys. It's a hardware problem. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So all right, next on our list is K3 BYC Carlton. How was your week?
This is K3BYC, Carlton from Darlington, Maryland. Good evening, Frank. Thanks for taking the net, and good evening to everyone else who checked in. Been a good week. Of course, we've got a little bit of rain going on right now. It's supposed to continue overnight, but I don't think it's going to put a dent in our drought. So we'll see how that goes. As far as problems in the amateur radio here, I've had one that's been going on for about a year or so with my Anytone 878 DMR radio, but I haven't really worried about it because I've got my Alliance HD1 reliable working well. My problem is the bit error rate. At least when I'm going through the Pi Star, going through the hotspot there. And I do the calibrate in the configure mode there for offset. And I can adjust it, but I cannot get the Anytone in an acceptable range. It's very well for the a lunch, so I've been relying upon that radio. I'm going to reset here. For the Anytone, I haven't really had a chance to try that out on repeater to see if that's a different result than going through the hotspot. So I've just really been using it for monitoring uh, and letting the alerts take over the workload. I suppose I should be contacting Ridgecom to see what to look at. I mean, you can calibrate in the Pi-Star dashboard, but if you've got two different radios, sometimes you calibrate to one where the other one won't go with it. So I'm choosing to keep the one going very well and just live with the other one for a while. So that's the only issue that I do not have solved within my equipment. I don't do HF. I'm just VHF, UHF, and I like my digital modes, but so I don't run into a lot of problems. I've got a good antenna up on the roof. So that's all I have for now, and I hope everybody well, I'll also express my appreciation to those who have served in the military as we celebrate Veterans Day tomorrow. So that's all I have for now. This is K3BYC. Back to net control.
Hey, thanks, Sir Carlton. I'd also like to extend, the same sentiment my way here. That, thank you to all those who have served for Veterans Day. And yeah, I'm also the VHF UHF realm. I kind of got tied up in digital, and that's kind of where I've been. I have my little girl, so now I don't really have too much time to devote to ham radio. But I'm with you there as well. And that I think we talked about that. I think I suggested the calibration of the Pi-Star, and you're like, oh yeah, we've already done that. So yeah, usually it's the Pi-Star, the hotspot, that needs to be calibrated. And yeah, you might have a unique scenario where actually the radio is off, not the hotspot. So all right, next on my list is N2RWH. Ed, how was your week?
And to RWH. Oh, hey, say hello to everybody. I'm not too bad here. Can't complain. So I see we got a little rain, so I could use a little bit. Other than that, just watching some TV here, and got my dog here. Probably could hear her in the background snoring away, but so I'll turn it back to you, Frank, and to RWH.
Hey, very good there, Ed. And just I hand it back to you there if you had any ham radio problems that you had to work through, or at least anything that comes to mind or notable, and maybe how you debugged it, if you came to a solution or not.
And to RWH. Yeah, let's see. The only thing I can think is DMR. Probably right now have to get the radio connected on the contact list. That kind of maybe my thing. Last time I tried to get the radio and the computer connected, and just fighting me a little bit. I just haven't had a chance to try it again. So overall, I'll have to see here, but I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, very good there, Ed. And yeah, just by the way, the next topic, for those coming up and everything, it didn't have to be DMR related or anything. It was just a general question. I know there's plenty of avenues and plenty of problems to encounter, and kind of learning from each other's issues there. So any ham radio, either VHF, UHF, or HF issues you might have had. Always good to hear from others there. So, all right. Next on my list is N30JP. Nick, how was your week?
Oh, good evening, Frank. Everybody on the net tonight. That was pretty good. I had some, the continuing tree problem that we had here from August with the microburst. So I had a couple stumps ground up, and it's supposed to rain on Wednesday. So I scrambled on Tuesday, raking and shoveling to get them leveled and straightened out. Well, we had a lot of rain on Wednesday, 0.09 inches. Really needed to be done. And, getting some things done outside, getting ready for winter, if we have it this year. And yesterday, there's a group. They sponsor these 50K runs, 20K runs. And they had a 50K, they called it Outdoor Immersions, down at Raccoon State Park here, a little bit southwest of Pittsburgh. And it's through the park. It's pretty hilly through there. It's a trail. So these folks just run along these trails. I mean, they change elevations quite a bit. So I was at one of the stations, basically calling in bid numbers to make sure we keep track of everybody. So I was there for a few hours. My station shut down around noon, and I think the race went a couple more hours. And today, not too much. I just cleaning up down here in the shop. We're getting ready for a few things. You get a break, Frank. Okay, I would say one of the most frustrating things for me is learning all these radios, the functions and the features, and whether it's a handheld. As far as HF equipment, I strictly go with ICOM, and they're pretty simple. But with some of the other 10-meter radios I got, they're old, but they're analog, so they're pretty easy to use. But some of the newer handhelds, of course, you got the DMR. And even some of the Chinese radios, they've gotten better as far as DMR programming. But even some of the ICOMs, I just forget when I go to use them. So I got to keep cheat sheets or just have the instructions, the quick start, those versions nearby to get going. I do want to get back to this one TYT UV380. I didn't master that one. It's sitting here looking at me, so the programming was always, at the time, was difficult for me. But then I picked up, a friend of mine was selling a handheld, the Yaesu FT70DR. 2-meter 440, but it also has C4 FM. And I wanted to delve into that because there's a local repeater over in West Virginia. I know I can hit it with 2 meters. I want to see what I can do with see if I can get in there with the handheld, a decent antenna out back, and then just try the C4 FM. So that's the next project. I've heard Yaesus can be a little bit difficult to program, but from what I've read, this one's pretty easy. Nothing like the FT991 HT. So yeah, Frank, I would say it's just frustrating with all the different radios and trying to remember how each one worked and how to program them. Back to you, Frank. W2FJH and 30JP.
Hey, very good there, Mick. And yeah, I'm actually with you there as well. So about the 50K run. Also, I think it was Mal, N2QFD. I think he had posted something on 7.3 that there was a site that you could actually register for like volunteer work for ham radio operators, but also you can kind of log your volunteer hours. I have to go back and I'll try to get you the link that he had sent. But I thought it was an interesting site. I took a look at it. But then also, you're not alone in the TYT UV380. Actually, you can get a hold of me because I'll be trying to figure that out and trying to reprogram and make a code plug for that one for the Southern Tier shortly. I was talking with Ed, NE2W, and I still have to get with Drew or somebody else from the Dera, but I was going to kind of have an extra hot spot, and I was like, well, I'll get a small radio, and maybe we'll have a Christmas like giveaway. So I think we're going to announce it in the November Vera meeting coming up, and I think we'll have a drawing for those that are interested, that are Vera members at the Christmas party. Or at least that's what I hope to do. I still have to talk with Drew and everything about that. But you're not alone in trying to program that radio, so I'll be doing that soon as well. So. All right, before I get to my next station, this is W2FJH with the STNY Digital VoiceNet. Let's take another quick standby to see if there's any additional stations that would like to check in this evening. Please call now. All right, nothing heard, so we will move on down the list to N2NCB. Paul, how was your week?
Hello again, Frank and all, N2NCB here. The week was pretty good. We got a lot of stuff done outside, and we're out and about. Some was nice weather, so it was good this time of year not to have to wear a jacket. Of course, the last few days been a little breezy, to say the least, so that was jacket weather. But nonetheless, okay. And the only one that comes to mind after all these years being in ham radio was I had a dual bander rig in the car, and it had one output, and I wanted two antennas for 2 meter 440, so I had a duplexer. And every morning going to work, there were a couple of us that would talk on the 440 repeater going to work, and this one day I didn't hear anything, I wasn't getting anywhere, and okay, what's going on? But the end result was the PL239 connectors on the duplexer had loosened up. Laying on the floor, so I'm not sure how that happened, but now anytime wherever those go on, the pair of pliers come out and give it a little extra emphasis to keep them tight, but that solved the problem. Never had that issue after that. And certainly want to remember, again, those serving in the military and those who have served. The other thing I think we should remember also, our son-in-law is a lieutenant colonel in the Army, and I think some of the things that are forgotten about is families, sacrifices the families make while our men and women are off serving our country. So those should be in our thoughts as well. And I think that's it from this end. Back to you, Frank. Take care, all. N2NCB.
Hey, thanks there, Paul, and yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I haven't had to take out the pliers myself, but yeah, I'm sure if I ever saw that, like, it's not connected. It's physically not connected. That's why it's not working. I'd probably do the same thing, making sure I always get them out and making sure they're extra tight along the connections there. So, all right, next on my list is N2NRA. Cliff, how was your week?
Oh, it wasn't too bad there. Hello to the group, and a good topic tonight. Microwave was having a problem. Went down to Walmart, bought one, brought it home, and the control panel was locked up. Every time you closed the door, the thing would run, and there was no control. So we boxed it up, took it back, and picked out another model which works very well now. But as far as problems, well, right now my son Mal, he got a part for an interface, the FT990 for FL Digi into the laptop. We'll take a reset here. And So we went through a lot of hoops and stuff, and figured out. I guess on the audio board of the FT990, you'd have to take it apart to make some adjustments for it, and didn't think that was such a great idea. So we're gonna try a different avenue, and we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I guess we could use an ICOM 730 instead. That might be simpler, but I think we got a different way of approaching it. So until then, but right now I can still connect with FL Digi and listen, but that's about it. So that's it for latest problems. Other than lightning strike down my other resident there, which fried the inverted V layer line, but always grounded equipment outside. Back to the net control, and Veterans Day tomorrow.
Hey, thanks, Rick Cliff. And yeah, I haven't had any lightning issues, but I know my mother and father-in-law there, they live actually down by the river, and they had one summer they had a large kaboom of lightning right beside them, and yeah, apparently I know part of their TV. I'm guessing just a spike in power there. Part of their TV, their HDMI ports were messed up, and a few other things actually got messed up. A close lightning strike can really mess up a lot of electronics really quickly. So, all right, next on the list is N2 UTV. John, how was your week? Right, nothing on my end here. I know when John keyed up before, it was a little touchy there. He might not be in a good spot right now, but we'll give it another go. John, N2 UTV, you still with us? All right, we'll skip over John for now, and we will go to N2 BSS. Jeff, how was your week?
Yeah, W2FJH and to BSS. Well, not a bad week as far as weeks go. I was actually up here in southern tier all week, doing some stuff around the property, getting ready to shut her down for the season, getting the one field ready for my son's wedding and reception ceremony and reception next year that we're going to do here on the property. So we made significant progress on all fronts. Tomorrow I drain the water and take back off for Pennsylvania for the winter. So I'll be back at the State College QTH for that. So anyway, frustrating. What's frustrated me in ham radio? Oh, lots of things. In my early days of ham radio, it was TVI. Not everyone had cable then. Everyone had antennas, and overlooking the TV set, and once all the neighbors figured out who the ham radio operator was, that made my life miserable. I didn't even have to have the radio on, and I was responsible for interfering with their TV sets. So the only solution was either to lay low or operate late at night when nobody was awake or nobody cared. So I became a night owl on 75 meters, sometimes 40 meters. And kind of was that way for a very long time. Then everyone got cable TV, and that problem magically went away, which was good. And then so my other frustrating thing always became inadequate antennas. Wherever I went, I always had inadequate antennas. I'm still fighting that problem to this day. Maybe next year I won't have inadequate antennas. I'll finally get everything up and running to where I want it to be. W2FJH and TBSS.
Hey, very good there, Jeff. And yeah, if we all had perfect antennas and no antenna problems. Life would be it'd make the hobby a lot easier. But yeah. All right, this is W2FJ8 with the STNY Digital Voice Net. I know we also do have N2UTV John that we were going to come back to, but let's take a quick standby, and maybe if John is there, he could also come back to us. We'll take a quick standby for any additional stations that would like to check into the STNY Digital Voice Net this evening. Please call now. All right, with nothing heard there, I have reached the end of my list, so let's open it up for any station that would like to check into the any additional station that would like to check into the FTNY Digital Voice Net this evening, or any stations that have checked in with additional comments, questions, or concerns. Please call now.
This is N3OJP. Additional comment?
Yeah, N3OJP. Nick, fire away with your question there.
Just to add on to what Paul had mentioned, N2NCB with loose PL259s. I've had that happen more than I can remember. Recently, I've got an old 10-meter radio here, and I've got it hooked up to the ER10 vertical. And I was getting on the Wednesday night net, and boy, it just wasn't acting right. Getting it tuned up the SWR, so I happened to reach around the back, and the whole spin-on connector was loose. So I think what happens is when you tighten this up, you're actually, turning the coax a little bit. And the coax has a little bit of memory. And then you add some vibration, and they loosen up. I've had that happen on other radios, too, for some unknown reason. I think it's just the memory and the coax. So what I try to do is hold the coax so it doesn't rotate. When I remember, of course, But as a habit now, because it's happened so many times around the radios, I just kind of reach over and just give them a twist and see what's going on. Invariably, I might find one that's just a little bit loose. So vibration, the memory, and the coax cable, it can happen. So what I do with the outdoor antennas, I usually use Scotch 33. And I'll put the tape on, I guess, inside out. And then the next layer, I'll put it over the outside. And that seems to hold up pretty good. I haven't had one loosen. Or I'll use the amalgamated tape. It's real stretch. It stretches quite a bit. So sometimes I might put a wrap of that on there. And then I'll do the Scotch 33. I don't use regular electrical tape. That stuff's garbage for amateur radio use. I use the Scotch 33, and that works pretty good. But yep, they do come loose. Even microphone connectors will come loose. W2FJH, N3OJP.
Hey, very good there, Mick. And yeah, I should probably add on my ever-growing to-do list to just actually go around and check my my SO239 and PL259 or SO230. I forget, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I should go and check those connections and just make just go twist it, make sure it's still tight, and if not, take your advice there and put some wrap around it there, some tape around it. So. All right, this is W2FJH with the STNY Digital Voice-Net. Again, I've reached the end of my list. So any additional stations or any stations that have checked in with additional comments, questions, or concerns, please call now. with nothing heard, we might as well wrap things up here. I'd like to thank Dennis, Carlton, Ed, Jason, Mick, Paul, Cliff, John, and Jeff for joining me this evening. We'll be returning this talk group back to normal amateur radio use. Everybody have a great and safe week there. This is W2FGH, and I'll be listening.